Hi.
Hey guys, and thank you for watching today's show. We are like kicking it. We have so many shows this week. It is just never going to end. You've been assimilated, Lori. I hope you understand that.
We got all the coolest people.
Oh yeah.
On here.
Oh, so how do you pronounce your name?
Oh, it's Cerece.
Cerece. So
Yep.
you wanted to say Cerece.
Yeah, I've been called that. Yep, Cerece, like all of it. I answered to all of it. Yeah.
I got it right on the first try.
Yes, you did, Lori. Yes, you did.
As always, if you guys have any questions, you guys can toss those in the comments and I will toss them on screen. And of course, I'm going to go toss this over and let people know that we're live. Where's the link? Oh, there it is. I'm like, where's the share?
A button.
Because gotta share it, or we're just going to be sitting here talking to ourselves.
Totally do that. But
let's see.
What's cool about this is this records on the YouTube, and people can access it then.
That's awesome.
I mean, I think you guys are more sophisticated than I am with this stuff. But.
Oh no! It took me 4 days to upload my latest chapter of the Wolf Queen.
Okay, thank you.
4 days.
This is actually really easy because this is set up to do it automatically. So all I had to do was log into YouTube. Now this automatically streams to it and it's automatically recorded and processed. So I don't have to do anything. When I was doing these off of Instagram, I would have to screen record it on Instagram, then move that file to my laptop, then upload it to YouTube, and it was just such a hassle.
My brain's already
so much less This is just so much easier. Make sure I use the right banner.
Yes, use the right banner.
So you've read a few of your chapters live, right, Cerece? You have them up.
Yes, of book 1. Yep.
And can people access that if they want to? Okay, cool.
Go to YouTube and type in the Wolf Queen, and there.
All right. I'll repost that because that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's been fun. It's been fun. You know, when you read the work that you've been away from it for a while, and you read it, and I don't know about you, but sometimes you get scared. You're ever scared to read it? You're like, oh, what's this gonna be like? And you can almost, particularly when I'm reading you can almost see the point where I'm like, oh no, this isn't bad.
Well, they're great books, so I mean, they're phenomenal. So I'm excited to have more people hear about them.
Okay, so we are live, and I tweeted that out. So that's done. Let me put this down here. Okay, there it is. I was like, wait, I see a comment. Why isn't it on the screen? So Allie is back. They say hello.
Hello.
That's awesome. So hello, Allie. Shout out for that. Okay, so we're just going to get into the thick of it. So who are you? What books have you done? What are your books about? Give us the down low.
Down low. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Cerece Murphy. I am a science fiction and fantasy author, both adult and children's books. And I've written a bunch of things. I've written a sci-fi trilogy called Order of the Seers. I've written a fantasy duology called The Wolf Queen. I've written a standalone historical romance with sci-fi elements. And I've written 2 children's books and a whole bunch of short stories.
So the one that I put on the banner, is that young adult or adult?
I would say it's adult, but young adult could read it. I mean, I wrote it so that my daughter, when she's 8 now, she could read it. So there's no juicy stuff. There's no cursing.
We called into work today, and she was like, "Can I get some Sweet Valley Twin books for my 9-year-old?" And I'm like, "My 9-year-old's reading like middle grade books, like today's middle grade books. Those things are so old. There's like nothing in those. You want like explicit, clean. That is what you go for.
There you go.
Books that are older than I am.
I know, but yeah.
So how long have you been writing?
Oh man, poetry since I was about maybe 10 or 11. That was all bad stuff. So that's a long time. Well, it expressed what I was feeling. So in that sense, it was good. But I started writing my first short story in 2010. after telling myself forever that I could not write anything longer than like 5 pages, because I just figured I didn't have the attention span to write a full-length novel. Mind you, in my day job, I was a grant writer, so I was writing 50, 100-page proposals. It never quite occurred to me that, yeah. And so writing that short story, it was just pure joy. And then from there, I thought that was it. I was like, oh, that was so much fun, but too bad I'm not a writer. And then I got the idea for my first original story, which is Order of the Seers, about a group of people who could see the future and they were enslaved to that ability. And I was sitting while I was washing the dishes, and literally this vision came to me of this man who had this cataract-like film over his eyes. He had ash blonde hair, even though he was a black man from Tanzania. I knew he was a seer. I knew he was enslaved for that ability. And this whole story came to me while I was washing the dishes. And I didn't even know at that point if I could write it, but I knew I wouldn't let it go because I've been a sci-fi fan since I was 7, and my mom took me to see Empire Strikes Back in the theater when I was a little girl. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to try to write this. And lo and behold, was like 9 books and short stories later, here I am. Yeah.
That's amazing. So why did you choose to do self-publishing versus querying to try and find an agent and editor and everything else?
Oh man. Okay. So there were a couple of things. I did actually query, and I told myself like I was going to go through 100 rejections because I think J.K. Rowling's had like 100. Wow, I should go for that. So I sent out maybe about 15, and at some point there were a couple of things. Our daughter was just born, and I knew I was going to stay home with her. And I'm an entrepreneur. I've started other businesses before, and I'm not really good with asking for permission to do anything. I'm not good at that. So I kept, as the sort of form letters came in, and I got this one that said, "Oh, we read your book, we loved it, but we don't think it'll be commercially successful." And I personally, the quickest way to get me to do something is to tell me it can't be done.
Right.
So I was like, I threw all the other ones away, but I saved that one. And I was like, oh yeah. So it was this sort of thing of knowing that I was going to be home and that I would need like an adult activity when my daughter was sleeping, and just really feeling like, why am I waiting for someone to give me permission to tell my story and bring it to the world? I don't need to ask anybody for permission to do that. And so I just decided at that point that I would start. The other reason was that when I was going around and asking people about publishing and sci-fi, the prevailing wisdom at that time, this is 2012, was that there was no audience for my book. So they were like, Black people don't read science fiction, which automatically I knew was false because, I read science fiction and I'm not that unique. They said white people don't read Black authors, and nobody reads science fiction from a woman. So literally there was no audience for my book. But again,
that's crazy.
The fastest way to get me to do something is to tell me what I can't do. So I just didn't believe. I already knew the first one was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured the other 2 were pretty ridiculous too. So at the time I thought, okay, well, I had my sci-fi book out. It'd been out for less than a month. And I was trying to figure out how to reach my audience. And I've heard about these sci-fi conventions. And I only knew about 2. I knew about San Diego and New York. And I'm based on the East Coast. And I thought, well, I don't know if I want to like lug all my books on a flight, but I could drive up to New York.
Right.
And at that time, New York Comic Con was 100,000 people, but I didn't know that. And I'd never exhibited anywhere before.
Oh, no.
Well, sometimes you just got to leave first, right? So
that's like you threw yourself to the wolves.
One might assume that, but that's certainly what I went to this. So when I figured out, I'm exhibiting, I should find out what that's like. So I went to this tiny little con called Shore Leave. Hey, out there, if anybody does Shore Leave. And I told the exhibitors what I was doing, and they were like, crazy, crazy woman. They were the people that let me know it's 100,000 people. Right. And they were like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. And they were like, poor child, sit down and let me tell you what to do. And they did. They told me everything. They were like, this is how you organize your booth, ignorant woman. This is how you do this. This is you. And I did what they told me. And I went up to New York Comic Con with my mom. And I sold over 100 copies of this single title to every type of person that there was.
Yeah.
At the time, it's awesome. Yay to all the people at New York Comic Con.
I mean, what do these publishers think we're doing when we go? Our readers are doing? Do they think we're really sitting there looking up this author's name? Oh, I wonder what color this author's skin is. I don't care what the author is.
You know, I don't know. I don't know what. I knew that there was more of us, though. People who literally look at the book cover. Oh, cool. Turn around to the back. Read the summary and go, I'm buying this. I knew that was the kind of reader I was. And I figured, again, I'm not that unique. Mm-hmm. So it was just wonderful. But what that did for me is that it proved all of them wrong. Right. I knew that if I had the courage to bring my story, that there would be people who would be receptive to it. At the time in small press, which is where I was, I was the only woman, period, selling a book that she had written.
Wow.
It was just crazy. I didn't know that. The salespeople told me that, but I was busy.
You're a pioneer and you didn't even know it.
I didn't, but now there are a couple, but there aren't as many as there should be in the small press section.
Well, I just want to say, I found out about Cerece's writing when we were featured in a sci-fi book box together. Yep. And I've always made a point of reading the other books if my book is in a box with another author. And I was completely blown away by her books. If you like Tora Pierce, Robin Hobb, Tony Adeyemi's books, these are phenomenal books, and I think you've actually chosen independent publishing as opposed to
very much.
So that's important to know. Is she chose this because to keep complete creative control, and I very highly recommend these books. I was just amazed by how good they are.
So what kind of box was this? Was it like a sci-fi fantasy box? Because your books are not sci-fi.
I'm sorry. Yeah, right. Sci-fi, but they're fantasy. I mean, I think I'm just going to say these books are completely unique. Kind of like Laini Taylor does completely unique fantasy. This is something you don't often read fantasy that doesn't rely on any tropes. I mean, there's a wolf shifter, but this is nothing like anything you've ever seen with a wolf shifter before. So, a pretty exciting fantasy.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. And your daughter could read this. Although I would say there's some frightening parts, but
yeah.
Which one? Because Darn's been reading stuff like for ages. When I get her to read stuff, that is.
I'll let Cerece, talk more. I mean, but I'll just say, for me as a reader, I thought the frightening level was on the level of the later Harry Potter books and the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it's lots of tension. I think in the first book there's lots of tension, and then it starts to get a little scarier and darker. It's the end of book 1, and then all of book 2 is just kind of yikes. The stakes are very high. Yeah. It's not an easy time for our heroine.
Let's see, there's a comment. It's sad that people think that certain people can read certain books when books are made for everyone.
They are made for everyone.
Yeah. And then Allie says she's very proud of you.
Oh, thank you, Allie. Thank you. Well, I've had so much encouragement, and I mean, it's felt very freeing. I don't know if it's felt hard. It hasn't felt as much brave as freeing, because I know that everything is sort of up to me, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. But I also have, editors and people who are kicking my butt and helping me get better. And so it's just like, how much do I dare? That's what this feels like. How much do I dare to tell this story and bring it out and make it the best that it can be? And so it just feels really wonderful. And when I think what I think would be braver is to hand it to someone else who might cut it up and not have it. I don't have the courage for that. So this feels better for me.
Hey, that's good though, because I mean that's what makes the indie self-publishing world, you got your good ones and you got your bad ones and you got your like, okay, why did you even try ones? At least you took the time to, do what you needed to do to polish it and everything else, and then, send it out to readers, because then, that's how you get better sales.
You want to put the best product out there. If you're a reader, you know what an investment a book is, and you just want. I mean, everyone might not like your story, but you want to put your best forward. And each time your best gets better. But that's the process of writing, period.
Right.
I mean, your best always gets better if you're really working at it, and that's a beautiful thing. It's not magic. It's work. You know what I mean? And the more you work, the better you get. So I just enjoy that deeply, and working with different people and different editors to help me get there. It's just, it's humbling and wonderful, and
so how
can I ask one fan question? Can I ask one fan question? I'm just gonna throw it in there and then we can do the other questions. But I'm really she knows my favorite characters in this series are the Cerece. Is that how you say them?
Yeah, Cerece. Yep.
The Cerece. Okay. They're like these. I've never seen that's something I love about her books is they're real high fantasy. They have characters in them you've never seen any of it before. And the Cerece are like these like centaur, elf, carnivorous, mystical beings.
Yes.
Have these. I mean, the one character has these great lines. They're kind of dangerous. They're not bad. They're actually good. But what was your inspiration for the Cerece?
A lot of my books, I don't know if it's like this for you too, Laura. It just sort of comes to me. The characters just enter my mind, and then they tell me who they are. So I just saw this. I don't think I'm giving too much away. I just saw this baby that was really very sharp and sort of caustic. Just really a shrewd little character that automatically, when you meet him, he's not really a baby. And I started thinking about like what's inside of him. There's this rage, and there's this intelligence, and there's this sort of immortal otherworldly quality. And what would that look like? And literally, as I asked those questions, he grew. He grew in my mind into this mystical, magical creature that you described better than I could. I've seen a gazelle, and so I know how beautiful they are in real life. And he is beautiful, but he's also terrifying. And I would say the Cerece are good. What they are is what they need to be. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's absolutely awful.
Yeah, they're kind of scary, but they're also they're compelling. And I feel like the natural world in the forest really figures in these books, and I feel a real connection to that. In the series.
You would.
Yeah.
They're so alive. Yeah. Well, thank you. I loved writing him. And just there's so much wisdom. Like I said, it's this wonderful balance between sort of the light and the dark with them. And as you learn about them, you realize all the reasons why that is. They've seen both extremes, and they really, in a way, hold the balance.
Yeah, and I like them visually too, like just their spiraling horns.
Yes.
Just everything about them. I love them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I loved playing with the idea of something that's gorgeous and terrifying, something that's seductive and absolutely, just frightening, all at the same time. And I wanted them to have that, kind of like that.
And you've got a picture on your Twitter of an artist of the Cerece.
Yes. Ella Mahoney did a wonderful picture. He looks so cute in that picture.
A little scary too. He's a little scary still.
That's right. That's how it gets you closer, so he can eat you.
Oh God!
You've got to read these books.
That's right. So anyway,
might have to have you back on the show after I read them.
Yeah, you absolutely should.
Definitely in-depth questions.
Yeah, you do.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna do some fun questions.
All right.
So I'm going to skip the one that I told you about because that's not fair.
Oh no.
No reflection.
I don't have the answer, but
Don't think any of us, like, what would you do, drinks or snacks? I'm like, I'd probably have to do snacks, or, like, could you do like, just like water, it has to be like a bland drink. It can't be something like, I've got like coffee here,
Yeah.
has to just be like water.
Yeah, I
You
don't
don't want to die. I couldn't live without snacks.
Yeah, I don't think,
I gotta have snacks.
Yeah.
I need strong tea. I have to have my strong tea.
Actually, I got my March bookish box yesterday. Got this awesome T-shirt. You were reading the Nevernight, right?
Ooh.
I'm reading that right now. Boy, it's dark, but I love it.
It says you've got words in your soul, and it's got like this tree coming out of a book.
Ooh, a tree.
From that.
That's beautiful.
I love their shirts.
I like that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I forgot what the point I was gonna make.
We were gonna ask you fun questions.
It's gone.
It's gone. Okay.
All right. So, which is your favorite season to write in, and why?
Oh man. It'd have to be around now, I think.
It's like, do you write where you can see outside, or?
Yes, I have. I can show you. Like my office, my desk is right out. Can I show you? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Show you?
Yeah.
That's
the forest.
See, I miss all the green.
There it is. Yeah.
You don't have a lot of green here in Florida. You have, sand. You don't even have dirt. It's sand.
Yeah, but you got the palm trees, girl. You got
not where I'm at. No, we have trees. We have like big trees.
Yeah,
but it's not like, because I'm from Ohio originally. I mean, that is like green,
Yes,
it is like green. It is like forest green. This is like sickly burnt to a crisp green. It's not good green.
I'll let you tell it. I like that.
If you had the opportunity to live anywhere in the world for a year while writing a book, and that's all you could do, and your book would have to take place in the same setting, where would you go?
Oh, that's too many places. But the first one that popped to mind is Prague.
And why Prague?
It's just gorgeous. It's just sort of all old world, and I really enjoyed being there. But then the second thing that comes to mind is the Caribbean. Because my parents are from there. Maybe Grenada, which is where my father's family is from. And it's lush, and it's in places completely untouched, which is something that feels more and more rare, with every passing day. So those are the two places which have nothing to do with each other, but that's just how I am. So let's go to Prague, and then we're going to go to the island of Grenada. Yeah.
Where would you go, Lori?
Well, I would probably go to forested Russia, because having the book out in Russia, I hear from a lot of people in Russia, and they send pictures of themselves with the books in the forest. And the forests of Russia, I mean, they're similar to Vermont, but I don't know. I just feel like the readers there are similarly inspired by the forest.
So nice. That'd be cool to go there.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I was like reading the question, asking it, I was like, it would be cool to go to Greece. Because like you see all like in like, what is it? This is rid of the traveling pants and all that stuff, and everything's so colorful and bright. It's so pretty. Let's see.
I knew there'd be a forest outside your window.
What
did you?
I've never actually heard of this question before. What is your preferred font to write in? Do you guys have preferred font?
Oh, I do. I like Garamond. It's sort of twirly, but not too twirly so that you can't understand what it is.
I never thought that anybody would write in different fonts, because like when I'm typing everything, it's just all in Times New Roman or whatever, just standard font.
No,
you guys getting all fancy.
Well, your books are in a good font. I've noticed that they're well put together.
Well, I have nothing to do with that. That's a lovely woman by the name of Colleen Sheehan. and she does wonderful formatting, which
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
terrible at. That's important. You have to hire the expertise.
Yeah, these are beautiful books in every way. And also, one thing I love about her books too is I love creative chapter titles, and every one of her chapters has a really well thought out title, and I love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love chapter titles.
I love that when authors do chapter titles.
Oh, thank you. Well, I feel like so many of the books I read when I was growing up were like that. They always had these sort of teasy titles, and I don't know. Yeah, so I just was inspired by that.
Let's see, Allie's got a question. We'll pop that up on the screen. My computer.
Yes, in a minute. I would do anything with her.
Are you kidding? Oh my God.
I adore her writing. I mean, the world building in The Black Witch is just insane.
Oh my God.
Insane. Okay. I'm taking over to talk about the experience of me reading The Black Witch. And like Lori, I mean, she reached out so sweet. We're in the same block set. And she was like, "Oh, I bought your book." And I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." She's probably not going to read. No, she's not going to have time. And then she was like, "Oh my God, I read your book." I was like, "Oh." Happy but terrified. You know how it is. And then I was like, "Okay, I'm going to read her book." And she said, "Well, just be prepared." Now, I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, "Okay," but I looked at the cover. I read the back, like I'm down. And I read it, and I don't know how you make somebody love the world and like fall in love with the character and then not hate, but like really dislike that character and then bring you all the way back to the other side.
Right.
Like,
that's what I love about that, though.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my artsy used to do. Anyway, I'm just like, how did you do that? And I was emailing her, like, I don't know, like, I'm really nervous. I'm really anxious about how awful this person is becoming. But it was just wonderful. So anyway, yes. Oh, I love Allie. I would do all of that anytime.
I'm amazed you said that. Okay. That would be awesome.
Of course. I don't know what we have to start with creatures first. We have to get together and sit in the forest and imagine awful creatures together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? One thing I love about your writing is that you just really go with your imagination. I mean, this is true, unique high fantasy, not relying on any tropes. And reading Cerece's book and reading Brandon Sanderson too, it's helped me like realize I don't have to stay in any type of box. Like I don't have to like the Eastern Realm. I like reading her book, reading some of the high fantasy authors that really do their own unique thing. Like I don't have to have everything look like the real world. You can really test your imagination. So my Eastern Realm now has purple forests and a purple moon and all sorts of like different things now because I read these books and got inspired by them.
I feel like you do that too. I mean, I'm like, talk about what she's going deep. I mean, I love that. I mean, and with each book, the layers just peel back. So I feel it. So when you said that to me, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I feel bad about you. So yeah, there's a lot of mutual love here, Allie.
Yeah, it's very exciting for me to get to talk to her because it's just very exciting to read books that you love and get to interact with the authors. This is something I never expected when I wrote a book that I'd get to do. So
it's fun. I never get tired of reading these. I love these. Do you use any special writing software?
Oh no!
I know what. So people use Scrivener or something.
I should.
Use sexy things. I use words.
Oh my God!
My writing group, they're like, oh my God! And I don't even know, like, how you can divide by chapter or something. I hear these things. No, it's just one long word document.
That's what mine is. It's in pages. And it has like chapter 1.
Yeah, like page break. Yeah. Page break. That's what I can.
Page break. Oh, I just keep going.
There you go. No, I can't. First of all, I write longhand. So the first draft is longhand, so it takes forever because I'm the slowest typist.
So what's the difference, longhand versus what?
Typing it in the computer. Like I actually.
Oh, you write it all out. Oh Lord, I wouldn't be able to read half of what I
Well, as you can
Oh
see,
my god.
it's looking pretty. It's not looking pretty right now. So you can just imagine.
Oh goodness.
Then my friend introduced me to Dragon Anywhere so I can dictate, which then compresses the longhand to the computer version. And that's just going into a Word document. Yeah, no.
You need like one of those things you can just like scan the notebooks that just scan it all in.
No, actually, I read it and dictate it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, lower. If you're thinking of technology, think of what is the lowest possible.
It's like, how does your throat
thing
feel
that
and
you
how
can
many cups
do.
of coffee, tea, or cough medicine do you go through by the time you're done?
That's how it comes out. I write faster that way. If I have to write on the computer, it will take me twice the time to write the book.
See, I type so fast.
I don't.
Like the one book that I keep talking about is the Academy of Salt and Silver. That's got, I think, 30,000 words onto it. I did that in like 2 days. I type so fast.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's a super
type.
How about you, Laura? Do you type fast?
I type very fast because I'm a piano player, and I think that's kind of why.
I didn't know that. Holding out.
Maybe that's why Lucas Wright plays piano. I don't know, but I do. But I when I wrote The Black Witch and the Iron Flower, I mean, it was all over the map. I would pull off, Cerece, how this goes. I mean, I'd get inspired. I'd be driving, and I'd pull over in a snowstorm and write in spirals on paper, any piece of paper I could find. It could be a newspaper that was just sitting in the car.
Yeah.
That's what your phone's for.
It was just, it was a lot of it was written on paper, like in spirals, or it was messy and crazy.
Did you keep all that?
I didn't keep that, but I kept the first draft, which is very badly written.
Like stuff to add to like that Bible thing, just like an actual picture of like you writing in spirals.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy.
It's supposed to be. It's just something cool to have.
You save those newspapers for us. We want them. I would totally frame that. You don't even know. Are you kidding?
We're weird.
That's right. And we dig weird.
That's okay.
That's why we're all here.
Celebrate that. That's all right.
Okay. Do you have inspirational pictures on your writing desk?
I have Yoda. I'm already. Yeah, and not just one Yoda. I have multiple Yodas.
Oh, I love it.
And then I have one that's stuck on top of the windowsill. I don't know if you saw him earlier, but he's looking at me at all times.
That is awesome.
That. And then I have different, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't know if you guys saw it when I turned my computer around, but my current quote, because I don't have pictures, but more quotes, is confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi. Your destiny. The Force will be with you. That's when I feel like wimping out, I read that.
That is awesome.
So, yeah.
What is your most unusual writing quirk?
Probably that I write longhand. Everyone's horrified to hear it. So that's probably the weirdest thing. I don't know. Quirk. Because I don't really need... Oh, pens. I am a pen fanatic. Now, not expensive pens. Because how unique is an expensive pen? It should be good. It costs $500. I'm talking about... That sucker should write the book for you.
I will show you my pen hoard.
Cheap pens. Cheap, good pens. So this is my favorite. It's the Uniball Onyx Eco Micro. I love this baby. Trying to make sure everybody sees it. Yes. I am.
Container right there of pens.
Pencils. I would
love it open.
Too. It has to be sharpened though. And I have an electric, super industrial sharpener because.
All right, you can go.
God forbid.
Go.
I write with a pencil.
Go. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Say hi.
My 9-year-old.
There you go. Hello.
Bye.
Ooh,
Goodbye.
Oh, that's from Gel Pen.
Oh, I love those.
You gotta buy in bulk. That's right. You can't.
This is not all of them. I actually have a case that I got from I don't remember what it's from Amazon. It has like a strap on it. You can put all the pens in it. And I have the what are they? Some kind of gel pens.
Yep.
That are like artist gel pens.
Oh yeah.
That are expensive because you can only get those from like Joann's and stuff, and then like half of them die.
See, I'm sorry. They're not, when they first came out with the gel pen, they really loved it. But now, like, everybody's making gel pens and they're just
right. I like these. These are the Papermate ink Joys. I love these. But the bad thing is I don't use pens because I have an iPad. So these just sit here.
They look good though.
And look nice. And I use them every once in a while because I have a date book from Owlcrate, and I use that. Because, I mean, it's a bookish journal. How can you not use it?
That's right.
So I use the pens on that, and that's about it.
But they're beautiful. And
they are. These things are so going to dry up before I use all of them.
Don't let them. Just bring them out.
Just like send them in a padded mailer, get your address, and just send them to you.
I will take all the pens. I'm not.
Yeah, all different colors, too. You could write everybody in different colors. Like, okay, this is this person's points of view, and this is this person saying this.
That's right.
Colors.
I've seen others doing that already in multiple colors. Like the whole manuscript is written in multiple colors for different colors for different characters.
I was actually kind of surprised when your book came out in paperback that they didn't color the font, because I know that's been like a thing for a couple of other books. Mm-hmm. I mean, that would have been cool to have like the Black Witch in like purple font, and then the Iron Flower in like blue font.
I have a fan question that's kind of related to pens and color and everything.
Sorry, we went on.
Amina in your books she's an interesting character. She's kind of a loner. She's kind of a homesteader almost. She's kind of a crafts person. I'm wondering what inspired that. Are you a crafts person?
Oh, I'm not handy. No, everyone.
She's pretty handy.
She is. Maybe it's aspirational. That's one thing. I wish I could do half the stuff she knows how to do. But I just thought of this woman is alone. She has to be competent. She has to be able to take care of herself. And so you think about, just what that would require. And all of those things came to me. I love the idea of her working with her hands because, and just as an extension of her magic. And as sort of the tradition of the Amasidi, which is the priest group that she descends from. And so I knew she would work with her hands, and I thought, what would take a lot of time, and just not only take a lot of time, but you see it. Because sometimes things take a lot of time, but you don't, it's all sort of smooth and you don't necessarily see all the work that but when you think about leather and you think about weaving a basket, I mean, all of that, every single loop, you see that. And so there was an intentionality in that kind of work that I wanted to express for her. But also just thinking about the tradition of women. Our art is in our work and what we do. Oftentimes women we weren't allowed to just be artists. We had to be artists and cook dinner, or be artists and plow the field, or be art. So our art was in our work. And I love that idea of that tradition and celebrating it. So, because our magic is also in our work. It's in everything that we touch and we love and we give our attention to. So that's.
I was going to say that baskets sound really good for the fact that they're also, and they take a lot of time to do, but then they're a practical thing. Yeah,
that's right.
So,
that's right.
It wouldn't make much sense for her to be out in the woods or something, weaving tapestries.
Right. No, everything has a purpose.
Right.
My best friend's an art teacher, and she talks about how, the first works of art were all practical instruments. Mm-hmm. She didn't have the time to just be putting something up that didn't have a use for you. And so I think that's where that idea is grounded in.
My other question is, you have really, I said this before, you have a very unique take on wolf shapeshifters, which has been done in fantasy a million times, and I'm just really curious because it is so unique. Did you, what inspired that? I mean, had you read a lot of books with wolf shapeshifters and you just figured you'd do your own spin on it, or had you not read any books and that's why it's so unique?
It's probably the latter. I hadn't read really any books on wolf shapeshifters, although I think probably the closest inspiration is Wild Seed by Octavia Butler.
Mm.
Because the way she describes this character that's moving in and out of different bodies, both human and animal, is very organic. And that stuck with me. I wanted it to not be this, I mean, it's an event, but it comes out of something else. It's not just a spectacle of it, if that makes sense. And
So
I think,
how do they shift in your book?
I'm sorry?
How do they shift in your book?
It's complicated.
I can't tell you because the organicness of it comes with the story. But
it's nothing you've ever read before. It's
like, you know, you've got like the Vampire Diaries and all those, you know, where all your bodies, you know, break in your body and then you slowly shift, and then you've got ones like Blood and Chocolate where it's just this magical thing where 1 second you're human, you jump and now you're a wolf, and it's just
no. This is past all of that. This is completely high fantasy. This is yeah. This is completely different.
What I will say without giving, it's like imagining. It's like a kind of fulfillment of yourself. If that's what I'm trying to describe. It's not the fact that she's shifting, but I'm trying not to give stuff away. It's the fulfillment of something. If you can think about, if you imagine, like, say your highest best self would be an eagle, like what it would then mean to transform from yourself to that eagle, step by step.
These are really deep books, and I will say, at a time when I hit a wall with the Shadow One, and I felt really intimidated. These books really are inspirational for. I don't know. I just found these books really spoke to me at that time and gave me the inspiration to keep going. So I feel like there's a lot here in these books for really like all different ages. These could be YA, but they're adult as well.
Yeah.
Those are the best books because then everybody can enjoy them. Here's our next question. Reading heart-wrenching scenes are difficult. How do you write these scenes and later edit them without breaking down?
I do break down sometimes. I stick with the emotion, which is the hardest part, but that's the truest part. I try to do that because you don't want, my goal is to have you feel at every moment what the character is feeling. Sometimes I do that well, and sometimes I do that not so well, but that's always my intention. So when things are happy, I want you to feel the giddiness of that moment, but then you can't flinch away when it's hard. And I think if I can stay with the emotion, then the payoff later means something. We've all read books where they went through something and we didn't care that much. And then when they got out of it, we're like, okay, sure, whatever, you know what I mean? But if I'm taking your heart and squeezing it the way, okay, so this makes me sound like a crazy person.
It doesn't. You're good.
The way the character's heart is being squeezed. I can just think of this scene in book 1 where Amina thinks that she's a tough person. And she gets thrown, but she's isolated. So when you isolate yourself, you control the scene. Your toughness, maybe it's not so tough. She gets thrown into a very difficult situation and immediately realizes that she's on the ground and sobbing and not as tough as she thought she was at all. And if I do that, it's hard because I felt that way. And there's a lot of me in that scene. But if I've done my job right, even if I'm breaking down, when you come out the other side and she is genuinely, authentically strong, you're like, you believe that. You believe that. And I think that's the challenge, right? Well, I mean, it's about staying with that moment so that it's true the whole way out, from beginning to end.
There's a great quote that inspires me about that is no tears in the author, no tears in the reader. And I think that's true. I think it's a good thing when you reread your chapter and you're tearing up.
Yeah. It's hard. I want it to be hard to read it because that means you feel it. It's
Yeah.
hard for her. And if I've done my job, it's hard for you.
I'm gonna need tissues for this book when it comes. My goodness.
Oh, I hope so.
It's positive though. It's very inspirational.
Sure.
Yeah.
All that heart squeezing.
Yeah.
It's really
It's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. Yeah, and she earns it. And you want to see that in here.
So you've done sci-fi and you've done high fantasy. Are there any other genres that you're going to dip your toes into?
I will write any book that comes to me. I mean, certainly historical fantasy in between that. It's not what you would necessarily, historical romance is not what you would think. I feel very blessed to have a story to tell, and my stories really come to me. I don't come up with them, which is why I think, like, Lori, you come up with stories. Like, that's just, if I had to come up with a story, I'll promise there'll be like a warning on the top of the book. I came up with this, and then you already know. Don't find You know what I mean? But my characters come and like, this is the story I need you to tell. And so because that's my process, I read all genres, and I will write any genre. So what I'm writing right now, I just finished. I'm dictating a sci-fi Western that I dreamt. And I was just like, are you kidding? Because I love sci-fi Westerns.
So I'm very excited about this.
I'm very excited about it. I'm so excited about it. So that came to me in a dream. The next short story is a book about bees.
Ooh.
It's called Blue Honey. And it just.
Oh, I like the title.
Usually the title comes first, but for the sci-fi Western, I still don't have the title. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm in the editing, like I will get something that my characters haven't trusted me with the title. Apparently, I am not worthy yet. So, but yeah, I would write anything that came to me because I believe that each story is a blessing, and a blessing isn't complete until it's shared. I really believe that. So I know how many stories have blessed my life, and I'm just not going to let these characters down. So I'm just going to keep writing till I keel over.
So here's one for both of you guys. What is the funniest typo you've ever written?
Are they funny? Do we have a sense of humor about our
typo? There's so many. I mean,
yeah.
All right, I'll say this. The Shadow Wand, I must have used the word toward or towards about 500 times incorrectly. So, I mean, my copy editor, I think she's a very nice person. She very diplomatically, and the track changes, had a kind of like a little tutorial on how to correctly use the word toward or towards. So.
Can you forward that to me? I probably should.
And I will say one more mistake. I think one of the funniest good reviews I've ever gotten was for The Black Witch. It was 5 stars on Amazon, and the entire review consisted of how many times can an author use the word incredulous in one book. And then I went back and I actually did a count of how many times I used the word incredulous. It was way too many times. And then when I wrote The Iron Flower, I did a like a thing of what was the most used word in that book, and it was seductive. So I figured that was okay. That sounded good to me. So.
That's right. That's funny. Oh man, I don't know if it's, well, I guess in retrospect we kind of have a sense of humor because my proofreader caught it, but it was in Order of the Seers, and I'd spelt this one character's name 5 different ways.
Oh no!
I felt more different about it every time I wrote her name. Yes, see, that is funny. And I was just like, are you serious? Just pick one. It's all of them are lovely spelling.
See, I grabbed some weird names or weird spellings of names, and then I added them into pages. So I actually have the list of character names that I'm using like at the bottom of my document. So as I'm writing, that's just flowing down. So I can just like, okay, that's how you spell that.
See, that's good. I don't know how to do that. I need that though.
I actually
type it in and then go above it and then just type.
I put foliage season, peak foliage season in the Black Witch when I first wrote it. It happened 4 times. And I think it says, I'm from Vermont and it's gorgeous. Foliage season is gorgeous here. But the trees turned like 4 different times and winter came, but 4 different times. And my editor was like, Lori, the trees can turn once in this manuscript.
No, not in the Black Witch world. Why not?
Yeah.
I have 2 moon seasons in the Wolf Queen. Why?
It works though.
That happens in the Iron Flower. I noticed that like every couple of pages, it's a new season. I'm like, what is going on with this thing?
That's right.
It's
a fast moving world. You gotta keep up.
Yeah.
It's Vermont. But we move out of Vermont because like I said, I was inspired by Cerece and like some other authors.
I need like one sheet saying like, okay, we're now in summer. Okay, now we're in winter.
But it's hard to keep all that stuff.
It is
right.
It's harder than you think.
It's hard.
Pages don't exist anymore. How about that? It's just whatever the world decides it wants to do.
That's right.
Whatever. Besides, it's going to be those states, where one day you could wake up and it's like 85 outside, and next time you walk outside, it's like 5 below, and you got 6 feet of snow outside.
There you go.
That's Ohio. So
high fantasy. That's high fantasy right there.
Right.
Right. That would be kind of cool. I don't think anybody's done different colored snow.
Ooh.
I like that.
It's like, I want some like deep blue snow or something. That would be so pretty.
There you go. Write that.
I like that. Filing that one away.
Right? You can have it. Want some deep colored snow. There's no yellow snow. Just stay away from that color. No yellow snow.
That's too real world. So there you go.
Okay, this one's weird. Okay, so do you feel like you'd be a better writer if you wore sparkly socks during your writing sessions?
Oh, definitely.
If I what?
Wore sparkly socks.
I think you'd be a better person. If you were sparkly. Yes?
That works.
It is no. It's no, yes? I think so. We're solving mysteries to the universe. Right?
Sparkly socks for the win.
There you go. There you go.
So this one is I love looking up all these different interview questions because it gets really stagnant just asking like the same 10 questions. So what are 2 of your favorite covers of all time that are not yours?
Oh boy.
Other people's books.
Well, Cereces do come to mind. Definitely Cereces. Let's see. Boy, that's
hard.
It is.
I would say Julie Kagawa's covers. Cereces and Julie Kagawa's.
Have you seen her new covers for the Iron Face series?
Oh, I know, but you know what? Julie Kagawa's covers are not just the U.S. versions. The British version I like the best, and then she's got some other covers. I believe it's the German cover.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a chance, Julie Kagawa's international covers are unique in that they are really different depending on where they've been published. They did not
that with the UK covers for An Ember in the Ashes. Those are amazing.
Yeah, I just and check out Julie Kagawa's and also check out that series. This is I love this series. And Cerece, you read Julie Kagawa's.
Yes, I have. I'm waiting to read the last book. I have to dictate all of my story into Dragon Anywhere before I can read it. But I'm so excited.
Which book?
Shadow was Shadow.
Shadow the Fox.
Oh, the Fox one. Okay.
Soul of the Sword, and then the Night of the.
Why am I drawing blank? I'll look it up. Hold on.
We're about to.
But they're incredible. They're based on Japanese mythology, and what I love about them is every 2 seconds, Julie's she's based all of this on actual Japanese mythology. She has an encyclopedic knowledge of it. I was lucky enough to spend some time with her and just hear, she'll tell you stories, all the most obscure myths that are so interesting, and she's incorporated all this. So you basically, I was Googling constantly, like learning about all these myths as I'm reading the book. They're all actual Japanese myths that she's incorporated.
That's so cool.
Oh my God, but the covers are amazing. But yeah, if you want to read something phenomenal, read Julie's series.
Yeah.
Um,
so happy you introduced me to that.
Oh yeah, they're so good.
This book came in the mail the other day. This doesn't come out till September, but I love how simple it is.
Night of the Dragon is the most recent
Night
one.
of the Dragon, that's
Isn't that pretty?
that is
even
pretty.
the back. It has like the filigree around it.
Hey,
this is actually published by your publisher.
Thank you.
That's how I got to know. That's how I got to know Julie, and Julie is one of the coolest people I've ever met. And
I was about this one. This came in the other day.
Ooh.
I love how pretty that is.
That's
it's so simple
cover.
though.
Yeah. I think that's Inkyard. Is that Inkyard?
Yeah, it's Inkyard. Yeah, that's what I just said.
I didn't read that one yet.
Yeah,
I try to read everything they put out because it's kind of fun.
It's really good.
I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to narrow it down.
Yeah, Cerece, what are you reading right now? Are you reading anything that you love?
Yes, I'm reading N.K. Jemisin's The Killing Moon.
Oh, okay.
And I love it. I love it. It's just beautifully written. And I remember reading just the first chapter right before Order of the Seers was about to come out. And I was like, oh, thank God I didn't read this before I started the book. So I would have been like, there you have it, folks. I'm just going to pack it up and send you to her. So,
yeah, it's a little intimidating to read people that are, on this level sometimes. Yeah.
But yes, I'm enjoying it. But I'm trying to think of covers that I really like.
What book is it?
N.K. Jemisin's The Killing Moon.
The Killing Moon?
Yeah.
Great title.
I heard it.
Great title.
And right at the beginning of it, there's this guy running around to different places, taking people.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, it's amazing. It's true. So anyway, and I'm just like at the beginning. But I'm trying to think of covers that I like that were different. Not just that I love.
Oh, wait. Just put it up again. Can you put it up again, Jessica? Let me see it. This is the one that Cerece is reading?
Yes. Yep. The Killing
Moon.
Moon.
God, I love it.
Isn't that
so pretty?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I'm thinking I'm going to go with Children of Blood and Bone, which I love the cover. I love
that cover. That's a great book.
That was really unique and different.
I love that book.
Yeah, and then
I have the sequel. I haven't read the sequel yet. Have you read this?
No,
I have it.
I don't even have it. I need to get it.
And
I love the sequel's cover is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and then they did like the specialty ones.
Yeah,
you can get ones like geared toward the what is the 4 factions or something or other.
Yeah. Yeah, they're beautifully done. And the underbooks on those covers too are so well done.
I'm looking at it right now. I don't want to duck out and but I have a whole stacks and stacks of books that.
Yeah, that's a photo over here.
Major motion picture. I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Oh, it did.
Oh, it's going to be. It got picked up by a big studio. It's going to be like very well published.
It came out. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, big movie event. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. See, there's this movie that got picked up, and I tried to read the book, but I didn't like the book. But I'm interested in it. What is it? The Hazelwood. I didn't like the book, but it's intriguing, so I want to watch the movie when it comes out.
Yeah, there are different things that they add to it, and so much goes into what you end up. I mean, both places. What you end up reading in a book, and then what you end up seeing.
Right.
In a movie. So yeah.
That one that went through. I had a lot of different covers of that one because I had the UK copy, and it had vines all over it. It was gorgeous.
Those covers are beautiful. Yeah.
And it was in hardback, and normally they don't get hardcovers in UK, but it was specifically done that way. It was weird. Most of their stuff's all paperback. I would die. I don't like paperback books if I can avoid it.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. That's good to know.
They don't last. My mass market paperback of Outlander, I've read it once and it's dead.
I love that book. That is a good book. Have you read that book, Outlander?
I have not.
Do you know why I read that book? I didn't tell you why I read that book.
I read it because I'm watching the show.
So a patient told me about the book. She said, if you're writing fantasy, you got to read Outlander. It's historically so well researched, and it's swoony. So I went to the library, and I said to the librarian, I don't know, it was too late. I just wanted to talk to her. I didn't look it up. I said, hey, do you have Outlander? She's like, yes, and that book shouldn't be in the library. And it shocked me. I was like, what bothered her about this book so much that she thought it shouldn't be in the library? Because I've never heard a librarian say that. So my reaction to that was, I'm buying it.
It's like, give me now.
I went out and I purchased it, and then I read it, and I realized there was kind of a raw scene. I think that's kind of maybe what put her off, but I had never had a librarian say that to me. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. I love Outlander.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I own it, but I haven't read it yet.
I loved how she researched the medicine of the time. So I liked the fact that she did so much historical research, and it's very swoony, but it's very well thought out.
Have you seen the TV series?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got to watch it.
It's so good.
I've heard it's good, but I don't do rape scenes.
Fast forward.
Yeah.
I fast forward through all the sex. I don't need it. I mean, it's there. I don't need it. I can fast forward through all the naked scenes.
It was a little over the top. It was, yeah,
and so that's why I saw the series, and like a true nerd, when I see the series, I hear it's based on the book, I immediately go all by the books, and I plan to do that first. And I only allow myself one show if I'm writing, because I go deep. I mean, I believe in fandom. I go deep into whatever I'm watching, and so I only allow myself one show, which is how I end up writing. And so I bought it, and then my friends were like, because they know my thing about that. And it's not so much, it's just like things stay with me forever.
Mm-hmm.
I think about stories and books. And so if something like that happens, like I won't get over it. That's probably you should know about my books. That will not be a scene that you
right. Yeah, there's a part towards the end of the first book that happens with Jamie, and I still can't watch that part of the
my friends.
I just like, okay, we'll just fast forward. Okay, skip to the next one. Okay, we're good. He's been rescued. We're out of here.
Yeah. I've seen some YouTube clips though, and I'm like, oh yeah, this looks like, but if I can't, like, totally, so it's hard, because I don't.
The psychological point of view of it, they did a really good job with it, but I can't watch that.
Yeah, I heard it was really well done.
It is.
I can't.
Well, what I think was interesting about that series on the miniseries, or the film miniseries, is my understanding is there's a female director for it. And so when they did the happy sex scene with Jamie, that was from a female perspective, not from like a male gaze type perspective.
Yeah.
And it changed everything. It's so sexy, I think, to both women and men, because this was done from a female perspective. And I thought that in itself is very interesting to watch, because it makes a huge difference that this sex scene was put together and directed by a woman, and it really comes through. It's extremely sexy, but in an extremely positive way as well.
Yeah, I've seen the behind the scenes stuff for them. There was like 20 people in the room when they did all that after they got married. It's like, okay.
It's really positive.
I don't know how they did that without completely cracking up laughing, because there's no way.
Yeah. But if you watch it, if you wanted to, it's just, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting cultural shift going on in that moment. I think
it's on my list. It's on my list.
Yeah, just fast
forward the end.
It's hard
to episode to skip, and then I skip that up.
Yeah. Skip it.
I rewatch it like at least once or twice a year when we're in Droughtlander. So when I rewatch it the next time, I will mark the episodes and the time of where, okay, skip here. So then you'll know.
It looks really good. It looks really good.
I don't know what they're gonna do, because I think the next book comes out, I think November of this year, Tell the Bees That I'm Gone, and we're already in season 5, and I think there's like 9 books out. What's gonna happen when they catch up? Because it takes her like 10 years to write a book or something like that.
Is she still writing them?
Yeah, she's still writing them. Yeah, the new one comes out the end of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about Game of Thrones, right?
What are they going to do? Oh, God, I fast forward through so much of that one.
Game of Thrones is tricky. Did you find that tricky? I loved it, but I also hated it.
Didn't like the ending. I was so disappointed.
It was great, and it was feminist at times, but then it was so misogynist at times, I almost stopped watching.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of that. And, I heard an interview with George R. R. Martin talking about that. He was tired of seeing all these historical things that were like just would never happen for women at that time. And he's like, it was a cold, hard, awful world. And, I support people's ability to write whatever they want.
Sure.
But certainly some things were easier to take in the books than in the show.
I heard that they added like a lot of
They did. The books did not have a lot of that in it.
In the TV show.
The books didn't have hardly any of that in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly the women have more agency.
Yeah.
And then they try to do it at the end, but yeah, I won't talk about the heartbreak, because that was my one show for a while. And it just...
So what's your one show now?
I don't have one.
Oh, you don't have one. Oh, you are showless.
I'm showless right now, but I'm open for suggestions. But
every time I start watching something, it gets canceled. Like, 2 years ago, I finally sat down and I watched all of Green Arrow off the CW and all of Flash, and I got completely caught up with the new season. Yeah. And then Arrow gets canceled, and I'm like, wow, thanks.
Oh. I know.
So I have a question. The sci-fi western, where are you at with that?
I have the first draft. It's kind of ugly, but it's all I'm dictating it. And the great thing about dictating is you have to read it. So I can say that it's not as bad as I thought it was. You know what I mean? No, because you finish the draft and you put it down and you're like, do I even have the courage to go back in and look at this turd? But I'm reading it and I'm like, no, this is not that bad. So it won't be
I know this feeling well.
Yeah. So it won't be out until October. Because it's, when I get it to the point where I have the courage to then send it to the editor, who will be like, oh no, it was as bad as you thought.
Oh no.
No.
And no, but like in very nice terms.
That's good. It's good.
It's okay that it's that bad, because I highlighted in red all the places where you can make it better. So it's good. But yeah, that's where it is now. So I have the first draft. I'm not horrified. It needs work, but then I will clean it up as best I can, and then I'll move on to the next story and then come back to it when because I need space. Yeah. And this is great because I usually write short stories in between like books. So the next book I'm writing is a space opera. Ooh. And I dreamt it many, many years ago. And I have the outline for it, and it's noodling because I read The Martian and loved it. So I was like, oh, okay, so I need to know what I'm talking about, which is going to take a while because I'm not an astrophysicist. I don't have those tools just right there. So that's going to be a lot of research, but it's fine and it's fun. And I love that. But I usually write short stories to sort of get my brain working, but it's not as tough as having to put an entire novel or series of novels together. So
that's cool.
Sounds like pretty exciting stuff coming down the road, though.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait.
Yeah. Ooh, do you ever take random writing breaks to dance?
Yes, I love to dance. I love to dance.
Rory's over there shaking her head no.
I can't dance. I dance badly, so.
But it doesn't matter. Spasm by yourself. Like it's
right.
what.
I mean, I kind of understand that because after sitting at a desk for so long, from like a medical standpoint, you're in both. You got everybody's in medical. I swear, like nowadays, You can get blood clots and stuff from sitting down. So getting up and moving around and dancing and stuff definitely would help out.
Well, dentistry is pretty active. I mean, in the typical day, I'll see 30 people, so I'm moving around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm not that busy, so I'll go for a walk. But more than the dancing, I go for a walk.
I like to go for a walk in the woods. Well, you guys, I post pictures all the time.
Yeah.
Going out in the woods.
I love
it.
I
guess you followed Anna Reese on Facebook. She's like, oh, a snake. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Lori. She's like, oh, she wrote the Black Witch. She just knows who you are now. You have a 9-year-old fan,
That is awesome.
You want to know.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Those are the best fans.
There you go. Yeah, it's true. And worthy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what this is. I've never actually heard of this. What is a log line?
I don't know.
A log line is like a pitch.
Oh, okay.
So
what would your log line be for your books?
Oh, I actually wrote some, but I don't remember what they are now. A log line might be for the Wolf Queen. A woman discovers her hidden power and saves her land from an evil ruler. That's a sucky log line, but that might be one. So the idea is it encapsulates the story.
Right.
It gives you a sense of the tension and the main characters.
It's like, should have said, hey, flat rate these books to me so I get them in like 3 days. What was the hardest part of writing your author bio? I mean, do you guys have to write those, or is that, because you're self-published, of course you have to do it, but was yours done for you, Lori, or is there like a team of people at Inkyard Press that write your author bio for you?
Well, they write my cover copy because I cannot write short to save my life. And I kept my author bio just very short. I talked about, I live in the woods and I drink strong tea and, that's it.
I don't know. For me, it's like you have to take yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to wear so many different hats. So now I'm marketing me. I'm a business. It's not, what will I say about myself? Well, nothing. I don't want to talk about, you know what I mean? But like, okay, somebody needs to know about you. What is it they need to know? What is it? And I love, my favorite bios are the ones, can you send us a bio of 100 words or less? Yes, I can. You know what I mean? I like books. I write books. Here's my website. You know what I mean? So that's the best bio is a short one. But you just take yourself out of it and you pretend you're talking about somebody that's not you. And it's amazing how we can be complimentary and we can be objective and we can be kind when we're, think we're talking about somebody else. I mean, the sad part is, often we don't do that for ourselves.
It reminds me of there's a meme going around from The Princess Diaries, where the guy is always looking for the 5-fingered man, and it's like that's what you want in your bio. It explains everything they need to know.
Yep, that's true. That's true. I love that. Indigo Montoya. Yes. I love The Princess Bride. I own it in all streaming. I own the DVD. I own the VHS.
I have to watch that. I have not yet watched that, and my husband is trying to get me to watch that.
The Princess
Bride.
I
will watch it now that you guys.
I think it's horrible.
Keep in mind, it's corny.
It is very, very corny.
Very corny.
Like my favorite. What is your favorite part of The Princess Bride? Mine is like the RUSs.
Oh my gosh. So many different lines. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. So anyway, the character keeps saying that the head henchman keeps saying it's inconceivable. It's inconceivable. And Indigo Montoya turns to him because, of course, all of the things he keeps saying are inconceivable end up happening. And he turns to him finally and goes, "You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means." And it's just Mandy Patinkin is amazing in it. This is the reason to see it. Mandy Patinkin is in it. So
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it when Buttercup finally gets tired of Wesley's BS and throws him down there.
Buttercup. Okay.
Buttercup.
Buttercup. All right.
Dealing with Lori. That's what you're dealing with. Get ready.
See, I'm gonna have to rewatch this because we own it because there's a book coming out that Tor sent me that it's like a reverse. It's reversed, so it's still the Princess Bride, but it's reversed. So she saves him instead.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. It's like it's buried in my ARC tote, but it looks so cool, and I'm like so intrigued because growing up, I hated the Princess Bride. That was not something I wanted to watch, and now of course as an adult, I'm like, here,
Why
we'll
did you
watch
hate
it.
it? I want to know why.
Yeah, we did it.
It's just boring.
Oh, boring. Oh, okay.
It's just boring. It was so boring. It was so boring.
Oh wow.
But it's like, but nowadays it's not. You
People
know,
rave about that. I gotta watch it.
I have
I'll
more.
watch it.
What is it? I have more. I don't know. I love it now. I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
and RUS stands for rodents of unusual size, by the way.
That's right.
Like man-eating rats.
That's right.
You know, which in the movie is like people in a rat suit type thing.
Yeah. Rats if they got their wish.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't want them rats.
No.
I don't want to see the snake that eats those rats.
There you go.
I will pass.
But it's fun. It's corny. But lovely.
It's so
All
good.
right.
You need
I'm convinced. I want to watch it.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Do you have a favorite word that you use constantly?
Well, toward incorrectly, the wrong way, consistently through the entire manuscript. Apparently.
I try to avoid suddenly. I try. I think I fail, but I try. So every time you read suddenly, know that I worked hard to not get there. I just couldn't find another word. No, that's true for suddenly. But my favorite word is bootlegger, said with an Irish accent.
That is a cool choice.
That's
right
awesome.
there.
And I'm sure I got that from some movie somewhere, and I was just like, oh.
Right. Of course. Because everything's from movies or books or
That's right. That's
it's
right.
from somewhere.
That's right. So
Okay, so the last one on this list is, do you have any writing buddies?
Well, yeah, with Cerece and a whole bunch. You're gonna meet them all on this. On
I
this.
think they're talking about like animal writing buddies.
Oh, yeah.
See people with like their cats, and I've seen somebody with a duck.
I have 2 rescue cats. I've got Sam, who is basically named. My kids are adopted from Vietnam, so we named Sam after the Vietnamese word for tornado because he was such a crazy kitten who was like a tornado. And then there's Lord Charles of Dingley, which is named after the Pride and Prejudice character, because he's ridiculously friendly with no filter.
nice. Well, my writing buddies are my kids.
Your
They
kids?
inspire me to write. They prevent me from writing. They encourage me to write. That's it. Yeah.
I love all the pictures that people have, and they're like their cat is like laying on their keyboards.
Yeah. No, my kids will just come and sit on my lap.
Oh, okay. Do you have like little kids or older kids, or do you have like older kids, younger kids?
Yeah, they're 8 and 12. But I started writing when my daughter was just born and my son was 3.5.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But they'll still come even as older. Like so.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah. You done yet?
I've
No,
got a 15-year-old
right
and a
here.
9-year-old. They will interrupt you. They don't care.
No.
I've had them come in when I'm live, and they're like, one was getting out of the shower. They're wrapped up in a towel. I'm like, hello. Go.
TMI.
It's like out the door.
Yeah.
I'm past the teenage years. I love my adult children.
I know. I see
It's
that
wonderful.
stuff.
It's so beautiful, wonderful. I love it.
Yeah. They're feeding. I see that, Lori. Oh, wow. What's that like?
It's absolutely amazing after having 4 teenage girls at the same time, and I love them.
Oh,
But
goodness. Oh, but you only have 2 kids.
I have 4.
I have 4? I'm trying not to kill the 2 that I have. The one she got lucky. They're just using her grades from the third quarter.
Yeah.
So she got to opt out of the rest of the year for May. She's like, "Hey, Mom, I got an A in math." I'm like, "Yeah, opt out. You'll just just completely opt out for the rest of
There's
May.
only one way this goes
All
from here.
bees, go with it. Don't even play, just go with it. She's like, are you sure?
Trust me, I know.
Math is evil.
It's wonderful. It's a puzzle that eludes us, but we love it. Maybe
I
not.
have a math degree, so
There you go.
Oh, sorry.
math
There you go.
person.
I loved math. Math didn't love me, but I never, it was unrequited, but it was all right.
I did that. I went back to high school when I was 19, and because I had been pulled out and put into homeschool, and I just wanted to finish out. And for the first time in my life, my freshman teacher realized that I was having problems keeping all the formulas and stuff in my head, so she just let me write them down for tests and stuff. First time in my life that I had ever had straight A's in math. Like, make sure you know you've got a good teacher when you're 19 and you're just bawling at your grades in class. They're like, "Were you okay?"
It's a good thing.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. So how does that work now that of course like all the kids are home, and then you're still writing? You just like shut the door, lock it.
I will. I mean, they're older now. It makes such a difference when they're older.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have been able to do this 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have been in a state of complete breakdown.
Yeah.
With this age, they're old enough that it's like you want something, it's in the fridge, go grab it. You can reach a cup,
You're not bleeding, so why are you confronting me right now? You know what I mean? No, it's just, yeah, they can get themselves lunch. They could get me lunch.
Right.
That happens.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it's tough, but it's not nearly, I mean, I remember what it was like years ago when school would close for snow for a week. And I think that's when I really started committing to just writing longhand. Because before I used to try to do, I'd write and then I'd type it in and then this, that, and the other. But man, I was just like, I got to get it in where I can fit it in. And so that newspaper and the spiral and the receipt I was just like, I have to finish this book by any means necessary. And so, but now it's difficult. It's challenging, but it's not anything like it used to be.
They have tablets that I keep seeing pop up on Instagram that it's like tiny. It's like, I think it's like this big, and you can actually write on it like regular paper, and then it transfers to your computer.
I've seen those.
Those are so cool looking.
It's like the legend of those things. I don't know. Maybe in 3 years when everyone else is like, yeah, that's so old tech. Like, you know what? Guess what I just got?
That's when I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
It's about that time as well.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a late adapter. Just put it that way. Like never.
Yeah.
I just got a Kindle a year ago.
Oh wow. I like mine. This is the paper white. This is the newer paper white. I got it during Black Friday. It's waterproof.
Yep.
Nice.
It's nice. Yeah, I can go like, what was it? Oh, I had gotten an EARC of Regretting You from Colleen Hoover. I was like reading it. I took a shower. That thing is like, I have pictures. It's like propped up in the side of the shower, and I'm still reading.
That's commitment. I don't bring anything into my shower with me. That's me time. But I respect the game. I respect your game.
It's so good though.
Yeah. No, I have it, but I mean, mind you, I buy several books a week, every week.
Oh goodness!
I love paper. That's what I love.
Right.
I love paper.
Right. My goodness, you just a writing machine.
I don't know about that. I'm just doing what I can.
Yeah. Well, that is all of the questions that I have today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Once I get the other books, I'll definitely have to we'll have to rebook her later. So then we can completely do a complete show of just gushing about her titles.
Yeah.
Amazing covers, and they're so pretty.
Thank you. And again, I always hire somebody. You'll be able to tell if I do my own cover. You'll know. It'll be like a cautionary tale.
What's your artist again, Cerece?
Her name, for the Wolf Queen, her name is Len Yan. Yeah, and I commissioned both the art for both covers.
I should remember that because I followed your artist on Twitter after hearing
Yeah, definitely. They're
Yeah, she's
And I remember
Yeah,
that I remember
that's
seeing
so
just the most
pretty.
incredible art on that entire site. So
yeah, she does amazing. So yeah, but thank you so much for having me.
You're
yeah, this is so
welcome.
awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. It's so fun to actually, meet you face to face.
I know.
We have to pick up our game, Lori. I mean, all these authors keep coming on, and they look so pretty and so glammed out. I feel so frumpy.
That's okay.
No, you put that disclaimer right below this video when you post it. I will mail you that 20. Thanks. After this. No, it's been great talking to you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty. Who is coming on tomorrow? Because I always like letting everybody know.
Well,
Who's coming on?
Celine's coming on. Celine is the other person other than Cerece that took me off a ledge several times during the Shadow Wand. And Celine is doing the self-publishing thing. She hails from Colombia, and she is a young author who is writing. I guess her own spin on things like vampires and shapeshifters and things like that. And one of the best editors I've encountered, and also beautiful Spanish translator. So very excited. I have never met Celine face to face, like I hadn't met Cerece face to face, and I've never. Because she's in Colombia, so I've never even talked on the phone. We've just written to each other and edited each other's books and gotten to know each other online. So I'm pretty excited. But anyway, yeah, this is like all the coolest people I told you that were.
We feel the same.
Yeah, so
guys.
I know the coolest people. I will own that.
Well, guys, join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Celine. Is it Callan?
I have to ask her about pronunciation. It's a pen name, so I'm gonna ask her how to pronounce.
Oh, okay. So and her book, she wrote Starlight.
Wrote a whole bunch of books. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. All right. So
thank you, Cerece, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This is all.
Have a good night, everybody, and I will catch you all online. And I'm gonna go watch The Princess Bride.
There you go
watch The Princess Bride.
Okay, good night, everybody.
I'm gonna finish the Shadow Wand and go make dinner.
You got to get to the swoony scene. All right. Good night.
So good. See ya.
Bye.